Welcome back. Yes, we've got Steve Nwosu here. He's the publisher of the Nigerian Express. Compliments of the season to you
Same
today.
to you, bro. We still have to be happy somehow.
Oh, yeah. That's how we started. I said, look, much as it may not necessarily feel that way, that is the season again.
Maybe you're already assuming that it doesn't feel that way for him.
No. I mean, largely. A lot of people don't feel the environment, of course, COVID and things like that. So it's a little...
I wish it could be postponed. If it's something we could postpone, we should just postpone it.
But that means it doesn't feel like Christmas for you as well?
No, of course, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
You hear music, people are doing their trees and all that. But there are all those things that make Christmas. They are just not in place.
Such as?
I mean, my old man said, when you're somewhere and picking bills in about 3-4 places, then you know you're a man. When you're suddenly not picking those bills, something is going wrong, definitely. And there's a bottom line that is missing.
Well, how do you think students will feel at this point in time when, having heard that announcement from ASU, that yes, indeed, they've suspended the strike, so it's up to the Senate of those universities now and the federal government to determine when the students will come back to school?
First of all, there was excitement because I have a daughter who is at home, who is a final year student waiting to go to school. So there's excitement, but I'm also not really as excited because some sensible governors have already said no schools, no nothing till 18th of January. So at least you know that there will be some, let's watch how this COVID is going. It's not just enough now to say schools reopen. There is a COVID in the mix that we've got to find a way to live with. And it's nice they're calling up the strike. It's nice to hear that after almost losing a whole calendar, a whole year, about 9 months or 8 on it, and they are going to go back to school. I just pray that for I never really always blame us on stuff like this. It's been government, and it's not just a Buhari thing. It's been government right from as long as I've been following it. Even this democracy, Obasanjo, Jonathan, you enter into, if you look at some of the things they are fighting over, things that go back as far as 2002, you have an agreement, these people agree, call off the strike, and then you don't do any of those things again. And then you resort to emotional blackmail each time they demand for it. But we look at our schools are in a mess. Who is going to fight? It's not all these people that everybody has his child in some Ivy League school, some school, including some schools that we didn't initially recognize as certificates in Nigeria before. We are now where we are paying an arm and a leg to get our children to, because everybody's child is outside. Those that are not outside are in the private schools, And those private schools, if you have a child in a private university here now, you're thinking of the minimum, you'll be looking at about 1.2, 1.3 per annum. But some go as high as 2 point something per annum just for a student in school. How much are you earning? Many of us haven't earned a thing since maybe, let's say, March.
Wow. I mean, there's going to be several other considerations, when students get back to school. But when, Ayo did say that, quoting the Minister of Labour, saying he will ensure that this doesn't happen again, ASU they're going to go back to strike. And you sit back and just wonder, well, yes, previous ministers, you expected that from previous ministers several years ago. Yeah. So when he then says this, and then you see the other union, SANU, NASU, claiming that ASU is getting 75%, so that won't work for them. You just, look, where
you say, I so much wish I can believe Senator Ngige, Dr. Chris Ngige on this. It's actually not, he will feel in his mind that, yes, in his heart of hearts, that we shouldn't get back here again. But the truth is that how much money did we put to education in the budget? The money we have in the budget for education, even if we give all of it to ASU, is not even enough to say we will not have enough of this again, because it's what percentage of our budget goes to education. The way we rate education is the problem. You go there, and it's not even just their allocation. It's how much that even gets released at the end of the day. You can approve tens of billions, hundreds of billions, but how much of it gets released at the end of the year? What you approved is not, it's just scratching what's the problem, and yet you don't release all of it before the end of the year. I just pray they're able to. Yes, you can. It's not like government is. Yes, they've always been unrealistic about some of the things, but then now it's worsened by crippling in a portrait economy.
You know, there are so many things that a number of people would also, because I'm just looking at a number of things here, there are so many things that a number of people will always point to us, the Nigerians, as our responsibility in all of these. Would you even say that generally we're paying attention to things we ought to pay attention to? Would you even say that whether it's the minister or the senator or the House of Representative member or House of Assembly member, we're even taking that people to task enough, you know, to holding them to account enough? Do you think there are enough stringent processes by which people can hold their employed government officials? I mean, when I say employed,
elected officials.
we employed them. Elected, yes, but we employed them. They are employed by the people. Do you think we have enough structures or information or electoral know-how to even hold them to account whenever they seem to be erring?
Begin from the president. You elect a president.
Employ, please use the word employ.
You employ a president, thank you, because we're actually the employers, they are employees. You employ a president, and then you turn around, instead of calling him Mr. President, everybody calls him Baba, right from Obasanjo. So that Baba already puts you in a position of he's a master, he's your father. You lead him, and he's not. And father in the African setting is not like you discuss with your father. He passes instruction, whatever he wants is the way. So we are in a country where somebody gets up in the National Assembly and says, I think we should serve an impeachment notice on this president. And the person is the one now battling for his own survival. That is where you have the problem, because you now have somebody that, even that issue of to checkmate the excesses of the executive, you can't do it, because the moment you move to do it, it's trouble for you. And you will never get out of that trouble until. Perhaps that's our problem.
Perhaps the problem is, maybe we shoot too high. There are lower ones. There is the chairman of the local government. There is the councillor. There is the member of the House of Assembly. There is the governor. There is the member of the House of Representatives. There is the senator. Before we go as far as the National Assembly,
everybody is a lord of the manor on his own, at his own level.
So that's why I'm asking: do we have enough structures to help us, the people, take charge of the work we give to these people, to hold them to account?
The structures are there. I keep saying it. The structures are there. It's just that how willing are we? We have a culture where we don't want to. We worship the people in power, basically. So even the struggle, the thing, you have a local government chairman. He's the lord of the manor there. Anything that happens, he just dispenses favors. He doesn't do nobody. If you move to call him to order, you are kind of seen as, how do I say, a rebel, an opposition element that must be crushed. Everybody is, yes, sir, and whatever he does is the way. The governor, the same thing. The states hold most of what is going to the local government, no matter how, what you say is what's it called, that they get their funding direct from the source and all that. Somehow they manage to tie the local governments to the state government. So you as a local government chairman, you can't do anything that the governor doesn't want you to do.
So are we then?
And then you as a governor, there are things, apart from you just get a few instances where some governors just say, look, I'm going this way, and then somehow they are perceived as maybe kind of either opposition, you see somebody like Wiki putting his feet down on certain things. It's only though you might not like everything he does. Only people that are stubborn that can function in this kind of setup. If you say let's cooperate with this state government, and they'll just take you and your people for a ride.
Let me speak to your constituency, our constituency, which is the media. One of the issues that I've always been concerned about is the quality of communication that goes from the government to the governed.
Yeah.
And the kind of feedback that they get back through whatever means that they can. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whichever way they can. And at any opportunity that people have to ventilate, when you look at that communication, I don't know, can we really call it communication or just exchange of words? Because sometimes, when you hear something from governments to the people, you're wondering whether or not the people are getting it. And then when people are responding to what they see of government, when government says we have done this and the kind of responses people get, would you say that there is communication?
There is the communication, there is communication, but it's not as much as anybody will want. One, because there is, let's face it, we are in the media. The quality of some of the things we dish out leave a little to be desired. But the truth is that it's also a function of what we're getting. You have an information and you have something you need to cross-check, and you are being passed from this. I can't speak on that. Is this when you get this other minister? You probably get somebody that you think should be able to at least give you an insight into some of these things. And when you say, no, when I get the Minister of Defense is the best person in the position to that, you put the Minister of Defense, okay, I don't have the details, but if the Chief of Army Staff was there, and that is how the buck is passed. The quality of information never goes. And then, like the Minister of State for Petroleum said 2 nights ago, that's Chief Temipre Shiva, he said that the country has gotten to such a position that the people don't believe what they hear from the government. They look forward to the media to give them the authentic information. But when you as government now comes and demonizes the media, anything the media says, you've redefined fake news to mean anything that doesn't favor you is fake news. And no matter how true, once it doesn't favor you, it's fake news, it's hate speech, it's all that. So once you start that, you don't give the media, and the media will work on information, will work without information. And I always had a laugh when they were doing the, the freedom of speech thing, and there was freedom of information bill, and they were saying, now the media, you'll be forced to go and confirm information. We say, it's actually you, the government, that need this freedom of information than we, the media. If 4 or 5 politicians sit here now and have a meeting, you can be sure that if I'm interested in what even if they did it inside a bunker, if I'm interested in it, 1, 2, 3 calls, you will get the details of what they said there. And I will use it. And I'm not bound because you've denied me that information. It will get out somehow. So we can always get information. We've been in this country, it might not be ethical, where people stole files and got all the information you think you have been hiding. So when you're hiding this information, we can get it. And then when people get it, it now means your own part of the story might never be there. It's subject to whatever interpretation they give it and pass out there. And that is a problem we have. And then the genuine media people that do these things, you deliberately want to squeeze life out of them. The same government people go to encourage some of all kinds of handset journalists. Even in the online thing, the world is going online. They are reputable online persons, known journalists doing this online thing. You sidetrack them and then be passing out information to all these funny people who have no address, who have no scruples, no training, no anything. And when they just throw it and then misinterpret it, and we're in a generation where people don't read deep. They just read 1 paragraph, 2, and headline, and then they can write a whole page of what they feel inside, not what you have said. So that's the situation.
One other key thing that borders on some of these things you highlighted is security.
Yeah.
Now I remember this same government, first term, different ministers, some of them did say Well, we don't know who these people are. They come from different parts of the country. They come from West Africa. They're armed. They're killing farmers. They're attacking farmers. So there's been different spin.
Yeah.
Now they refer to them as bandits.
Yeah.
So what's your understanding of what is going on? Or who the people are?
I don't want to play the Donald Trump here by bringing you all kinds of what they call conspiracy theories and all that. But there's no country, from my perspective, that fights security, that wants to fight security and leaves its borders unpoliced, not properly policed. We naturally have a porous border. And then you, as a policy, now chose the border open. Don't ask for this. Our brothers in West Africa come and you will take, even they don't need no visa entry. People just enter like, and you know we are bordered by the new base of terrorism now. Maghreb and West Africa, or Northern West Africa, they are just where all the people displaced from, not everywhere. That's where they are. The world is focusing on it. You that share boundaries with this person, you now through your borders open, and they are coming in. And then you say, yes, there's nothing. Countries have affinities. You at one time, Belgium and Holland were in the same country. In Belgium, they speak a variant of French.
Yeah.
In what is it called, Switzerland, they speak a German there,
There's
French
Italian,
there,
French.
and then Austria is actually a Germanic state. They speak German. So you can, and they are all the same. These people are just places, but they are independent countries. And the world has gone beyond that. Protect your borders. You can have all manner of cooperation with the people, not just throw it open as if you're trying to create one big mega country that all kinds of people are free, and then you are not checking the quality of people that's coming in. That's our problem. So the people coming in, you say I think it was on channels that I watched the governor of was he Bauchi once telling you that Nigeria is home to every Fulani. Yeah. And that and all that. Now we have Nigerian Fulanis who are settled, who are peaceful, who are everything, we have mixed, we've gone to school with everything. Yeah. They are cool with us. And then you don't, suddenly people come infiltrating, you start infiltrating and you say they are free to come in because Nigeria is also their country. Where is that done? And then suddenly a governor takes money to meet some terrorists in the bush, gives them to beg them, please don't come and terrorize us again. Who does that? Yes, people negotiate with terrorists and find some kind of thing. You know the mess when Obama and co, they said they moved 400 million with the USD and all that. But you move this money, the guys use it, but get themselves better, more sophisticated weapon and come back. Another governor goes and takes has a photo up with the terrorist leader and everything. And the next time they stop rustling animals, they start rustling human beings, they start rustling students. Before it was they will bring trailer and pack cows. Now they bring trailer and pack children. And then you are still in all this negotiation. Things are happening, we don't even know, as if there is a deliberate silence or there is another agenda you're pursuing with this. So that's why people are alleging ethnic cleansing, people are alleging religious war, religious intolerance. And when Britain, Trump puts you on some of these lists, you start complaining. But it's all these little things. People are welcome, our neighbors are welcome. But for goodness sake, let us control who and who comes in, because the people coming in are some of the most undesirable elements on earth. They are coming in from Mali, they are coming in from Burkina Faso, they are coming in from Niger, all this, and you are so free letting them in. That's where we have it.
Some other issue a number of people might be looking at now is, wait, in all of this that you have said so far, have you considered the ECOWAS protocol?
Look, if there's an ECOWAS protocol, why is Brexit and co still dragging? There are certain things. Yes, it's ECOWAS, but the first
but why
law.
are they coming here? Why
but
the
first law in nature is self-preservation. You have to preserve yourself. Sometimes you have ECOWAS protocol. Somebody will say, no, this is not working for us. Let's negotiate it. You put put a slammer and block, check everything, and then, don't we close? But didn't we ECOWAS protocol? Why did we close border to
The land border.
land
We
border
shut all
for
our
things
land
to come
borders.
on? But it wasn't there any
Well,
ECOWAS protocol.
on that border thing, again, something I have continued to talk about concerning it with everyone who cares to listen. A lot of times people will say we have very, very porous borders. Granted.
Yeah.
But we have border communities.
Yes.
We should be having conversations with those border communities to ensure that they buy into the protective elements of the national interest that you are talking about now. What kind of conversations should we be having with them?
That is if many of those living around those border communities see government on our side as working for their interests. Sometime in the 90s, we used to go towards all those, the old Sadana province, all those places that have been run over by Boko Haram now, somewhere in Niger, part of Taraba, Adamawa, Borno, Yobe. Then there were communities that have their markets. You understand? They move, and it was taking Nigerian authorities long to respond to anything that concerned them. If they had a security challenge, the nearest thing to authority they had were the gendarmes of Cameroon. So they more easily subscribe to both the oppression and protection of the gendarmes, because they know if they rely on Nigeria, and if something happens, you can quickly call a gendarme and that one will just cross over. On market days, they feel there's a way they mix. That's why Lamido who was at the national conference said, if you scatter this Nigeria, I can go to Cameroon. More than half of my community is in Cameroon. The Adamawa, this thing you're talking, a large chunk of that community is in Cameroon. Most of our borders were just, some people sat in Europe and just drew lines. So you don't know, sometimes same people on both sides. Yes, but we need to have that discussion with our people along the border. Say, this is the explain, and then make the presence of government felt to them. But I tell you one thing you don't know. Virtually most of the educated Nigerians that come from some of those neighboring communities have both Nigerian and Cameroonian passports. That is why they move easy. That's why you can chase some people here before you know it. We just find somewhere and throw the Nigerian passport and take up his Cameroonian passport. He can move and get visas and go with a Cameroonian passport. And they all move. And you know what? I actually like that many of them, even in our security organization, have been employed by us as into our security. So what are you? When you go to security, maybe let's just speaking theoretically, you go to SSS and you see there are so many people from the Gambia and Senegal answering Nigerians, but you know that not their parents, he wasn't born in Nigeria. They just migrated, just went to school, and that is the porous nature. That's what's giving us that issue. If you come down to it, but many of them do genuine business. Their businesses are tied to smuggling and illegal movement of things. But there's a way the government can regularize those businesses around the area, show them government presence, then make them believe that they stand to gain better from being on the straight side than keep fending for themselves that way. That's just, and we are not having enough of that conversation.
And it's going to be really, really, those are some of the, they appear basic, but sometimes you just wonder, how can these things just be done
You see
that way?
a governor takes off and goes and builds a school and hospital in Niger. Meanwhile, you're the governor of Katsina. You do a road, you do everything. So you make it so easy and you don't check the thing. So they say, it's so easy. It's much easier to even go to secondary school there for you if you are in those border towns and go to market. So what does Nigeria have to offer you?
Well, the headline the other day was what? Only God can effectively police which border? Okay, well, there you go. Thank you for coming on, Steve. It's Christmas Eve, so try and get at least some good Christmas mood.
Well, we will try, but there's a bottom line. The bottom line is not missing. The economy is in bad shape, and then the COVID. let's beg the governors, please, as my word. Let's beg the governors. Let them tighten the COVID protocol a little more, because people think, I'm sorry, I come from the East. People are going eastwards, and it's burials, parties, weddings, all the things, and all this thing about face mask, it doesn't work for nobody. This Christmas is going to be a super spreader, at least for the Southeast states, I'm sure.
Wow. Well, Steve Mosu is the publisher of the Nigerian Express. Thank you for coming on.
Thank
We're
you.
back in a moment. Stay with us.